Hi. Okay, so I'm starting trying out a new format today. I wanted to try, recording some interviews, speaking to people. I think this is just going to be like a good way to find out about new people in the Dataviz community, learn what they're working on, and I think the best way is to just talk to people and then record and share that with everyone else. So I'm welcome today by Finn here, and would you like to let people know who you are and what's your background?
Okay, thanks for having me. My name's Finn Fitzsimons, and basically I'm working as a full stack web developer and mobile app developer, but I've got a background in data visualization, and uh, I've been um, I've been I've been interested in the field for quite a long time, maybe 9 years, 10 years. And for the past 7 years or so, I've been working making interactive visualizations on the web and making open source libraries for visualizing data. Also, getting into a bit of developing the theory a bit about data visualization. Yeah, I guess that's a nutshell what I've been doing.
Okay, but what originally got you started into data visualization? What triggered your interest?
Um, I think I'd always been interested in design in general, and um, and when I discovered Dataviz, I kind of was really amazed by it because it didn't really fit in completely in like the box of graphic design, and it didn't also fit completely in the box of like um, science and data science and these sorts of things. So it's kind of like a crossover discipline of the two, and I was really I got really like hooked on it, and how these things that look really nice are also can be useful, and you can actually use them to get insight and stuff like that. So I think that's what originally got me interested in
I
data
think
visualization.
that's the same for me as well. I quite like the
Yeah,
mix between the kind of art aspect and the science aspect to it. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
originally I was studying graphic design, but I was also a very, before I was considering maybe to go into engineering or something more technical based.
Hmm.
And but I decided to go into design, which sometimes it can be very artistic and expressive. And I still like the problem solving aspect that you get with data viz and that. And
Hmm.
I think that's what made me, which is what appealed to me. And yeah,
Cool.
you
Sorry,
see,
there's a plane.
it's okay. We can see the plane in the background there.
Yeah.
That's one of the delights of filming outside. I mean, we can
Yeah.
see it's got quite nice weather. And where is it you are exactly in a garden in?
Yeah, well, we've got a studio, me and a few friends. Like it's kind of like a print studio, but I work from here, and they're printing zines and um, artist books and things like this. And this is the only quiet spot I could find outside, so that explains why I'm sitting in the garden today.
Um, yeah, no, it's fine. But you're based in Sofia,
Yeah,
Bulgaria.
sorry, yeah, in Sofia in Bulgaria. Yeah.
Okay, and so I mean, what brought you to Sofia then? I mean, you've said you've been there what 7 years or?
Yeah, originally I came here well, I was living in Austria before, in Vienna, and I made a, this was just after I got interested in data visualization, and I had an idea for an app, like a web app, where people can create weird and wonderful charts uh, that don't look anything like what you can make in Excel and these, the standard software. And I developed this app, and I taught myself how to code at the same time because no one else wanted to help me make it. And when I released it, it was quite well received, and a company here in Bulgaria, it got quite a bit of like attention, publicity, and then a company here in Bulgaria, they asked me to come here to work for them. They were dealing with machine learning and natural language processing, and they wanted me to help visualize the data that they were, generating, and they also bought the website from me. And so I just graduated, and I didn't have anything better to do, and I left and went on an adventure to Bulgaria. But yeah, I've been here like 7 years now.
Oh, wow, that's quite a long time. So
yeah.
you must like it there then. It must be quite a nice life there.
Yeah, it's I mean, like anywhere, it has its ups and its downs, but yeah, it's quite an easy lifestyle here, and it's very cheap. If you work for a company in the US or Western Europe, you can live very well because the cost of living is very low.
Yeah, if you got the US dollar or the pound or whatever coming in, you can.
Exactly.
In comparison, I've heard it's very cheap to live in Bulgaria. I've never been myself, but it's very similar to like that here in Poland. It's probably not as cheap, but it's still, in comparison to London, where I'm originally from, it's a lot more affordable for me to live here.
Mm-hmm. And also you have, I mean, it's a very nice place as well. You have really nice mountains, and it's on the Black Sea, which is quite nice. Yeah, you're very close to Greece, close to Turkey.
Close to the airport.
Close to the airport right now.
It must be all the holiday makers are coming in now. Everyone's coming to are there beaches and so I know it's quite a popular holiday destination for Sofia as well.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure. I think this is just standard air traffic right now.
And is there much of a Dataviz and infographic industry in Bulgaria?
I don't think so, actually. I mean, Bulgaria was, it was kind of the tech, as far as I've been told, it was like the tech center of the Soviet Union. It's like where they made the computers, and they taught people to be like developers and stuff like that. So there's quite like a tech scene here, and there's lots of big companies outsource their development to companies here, like tech branches, where they have developers and things. But I don't think there's really so much of a Dataviz community. I mean, I personally haven't met anyone else doing this. I've met a few guys doing like business intelligence stuff, but that's not much at all.
I'm just curious, just interested what it's like in other countries and that. I've just recently come to Poland and I'm looking at the moment myself to discover is there much of a Dataviz community in that here. But there is, like you said, there's a lot of tech outsourcing in Krakow. There's a lot of tech companies here, and there's a lot of foreigners that come over and expats that are developers, and they work for a lot of these companies as well. I know a few guys that are developers that have moved over to here and are living here, working in a company, in a foreign company.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, I'll have to see. I'm going around speaking to people more. I'm going to a UX UI conference tomorrow. I'll be giving a talk there, and then hopefully I'll speak to some people there and see and try to discover if there's any kind of like infographic agencies or any kind of Dataviz industry here. Would be interesting to find out. Because usually people they think about it's usually most of the well-known places are either in America or UK, Italy, Brazil, etc. But you don't really hear in
Germany,
the former Soviet Union countries. There's not really any that I know of at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think they really like lead the. I mean, this is my impression, but I think they don't really like lead the thought or like the theory of it here. It's kind of they see what people have done overseas and they copy it, you know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are guys doing stuff, but
Well, maybe not in the sense of like leading it, but just if there's any kind of existence of it that's here. So yeah, but so I think it would be good to look at some of your projects if you would like to, you know, introduce and go through some of them and explain what you've worked on over the years,
okay, sure.
just to get some
So
more depth. So what should I look at first? What I can do is, I think the first one was Potion.js, and
okay.
what I'll do is I'll bring this up on screen now.
So Potion is a
One moment.
charting library which I built in the last few months. I've been through lots of iterations of it actually, but currently what it is a collection of React components and other utility functions used for composing visualizations from the ground up. So basically, you have like lots of little. Sorry, there's another plane.
It's okay.
You have the low level building blocks at your disposal, and you can put them together how you like to build either very custom visualizations or even just standard like pie charts and bar charts, you know, if you want. Or you can even use them to build like very small visualizations, like a very minimal indicator on a dashboard or something, you know, like you the whole spectrum is at your fingertips, you know, like so yeah, we inside the library we have like we have presentational components like elements like circles, squares,
Okay, I'm just
lines.
going to try and bring this up now, see if I can
Okay.
get it here, just to show people what I'm
Okay.
talking about here.
So you
I'm
have these like building blocks that actually display something on the screen, um, and then what you do is you combine those with the layouts, which are they use D3 layouts under the hood. So you got like pack, tree, pie, etc. Like all the different layouts you get in D3, and they're not presentational. So they just like take the data and add extra metadata to it. So like a pie layout, for example,
okay.
will take the data you pass to it and
Let me
add
just see if I can find
started.
this pie layout. Is
Okay,
it
yeah.
under layouts in the
Under layouts, yeah.
So we got chords, grids, pack, partition, pie.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
the pie layout will just add like start angle and end angle to each datum. So,
Okay.
but it won't display anything. So it literally just like adds extra metadata to your data, and you use the layouts in combination with the presentational components to create visualizations. So they lay the shapes out on the page basically, and then as well as these like fundamental modules, we also have like extra utility components, utility methods. So the components we have like gradients and patterns currently, but I'm going to be adding like axes, legends, things like that. And the utility methods we have, I just released a module for generating color palettes, which lets you automatically generate a palette that looks good with as many data points as you have. So you can either have like 3 data points or you can have 20.
Is this so you've got like sequential and custom, and you've got this kind of these color palettes here, and there's a piece of code,
Yeah.
and the
So
virgin, yeah.
yeah, exactly. The you can use the ones from D3, the built-in palettes from D3 Color. But the thing is, like with them, it just gives you like some arrays, and you need to wrap them in a function and to be able to use them easily. So this module just literally gives you one function that lets you create a palette, and that palette is a function that that can generate an array of colors depending on how many data points you have. So like I mean, it's quite complicated, but it lets you easily create palettes that look nice with a varying number of data points, which is not something that's I've seen people do before. It's kind of, if you search for data visualization color, there's not much like concrete advice on how you should go about using colors in your visualizations. It's like, so they'll say like, yeah, you need to think about this, you need to think about that, and make your own decisions, but they don't tell you like this is going to look good or this is going to look bad.
No,
So
it's just
yeah,
I guess technical, isn't it, mainly?
yeah. And also another problem is when you have like you need a lot of different colors. You literally just go and like choose a whole lot of random colors, and it's difficult to make them all look nice together, So I thought it would be nice to have a module that could automatically generate big palettes that look nice, together. So yeah, I went on a bit longer about that, but that's
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just going through the website now, so if anyone wants
okay.
to have a look, they can find it
And
at Potion.js.org.
And one of the two of the key features of Potion are that firstly it's animated. So there are other similar libraries like this, but they don't enable you to declaratively animate the visualizations, and which is something that I think is pretty. If you're making a visualization for a client or something, it's kind of standard that you need to make it animated. They're not going to be very impressed if it's just a static chart, in my experience. And the second thing is that you can also render the charts not only in the web, you can render them on React Native, you can render them on the canvas, not only SVG. So the place where you render the charts is up to you. You can just literally stick it in a different environment and keep the same code from your charts, So yeah, those are to me the main differentiating factors for the library.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the other project you mentioned to me was a number picture that you wanted to get into touch with me about.
Yeah. So number picture have like the parent project of all my work, and it takes three. It has three sides to it. The first side is
Discover.
sorry.
Is it Discover, See, Build? So it's
Yeah.
you have the
Yeah.
research gallery as well in the doc.
Yeah. So basically, I took some scientific theory by some scientists, and what I did was I like took their research to its logical ends. What they were theorizing about was that you have certain visual variables, and they can all be interpreted to varying degrees of accuracy. And I thought that's cool because you can use this well, any chart you see is composed of some of these visual variables. So basically, you can use this research to rank every chart in the world by its effectiveness.
So that's visual variables. So it's like the
Yeah.
length, the area, the positioning. So
Yeah, so you have like scale, angle, area, length, color, volume, etc.
yeah,
And by combining these things together, you can create charts. You can literally create any charts in the world.
yeah. It's like the building blocks of constructing charts.
Yeah. So each visual variable will vary for each data point and show you differences in the data, basically. And what I realized, like, no one had ever attempted to discover all the charts,
Oops.
all the possible charts. So
Okay.
yeah, is it okay?
Sorry, I think you
Yeah.
cut out a little
So
bit.
oh, okay. Should I repeat something or?
Oh no, I think it's okay.
Okay. So so I thought it would be great to try take all the visual variables you have and combine them in every way you can imagine, and try come up with every single chart that there is in the world.
No,
And
I think it's a fascinating project. I wanted to do
yeah,
something like that and compile it into a book. And it's not necessarily because you know they're all going to be usable charts, but just as a way to um, as a form of experimentation to see what's possible and try every combination, see how it goes. I think it would just be interesting. I've already started doing work on that
yeah,
with my kind of chart combinations, but I think it's a huge project to undertake. So I think what you're doing is it's really impressive, and that's what fascinated me.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, uh, through the process, we discovered something like 450, more than 450 charts, and we put them, myself and a designer, we put them into a book, which we're currently currently looking for a publisher for that. And
I'll get it up now. Let's see if I can show everyone a preview
okay,
of your book now because it looks great.
and
So
yeah, basically what the book is, it's literally just a catalog of all the charts, and each chart is explained in detail how the visual variables work to display the data, and then they're also ranked in order of the effectiveness which they display the information, or with which the information can be interpreted by the reader.
yeah, so you've got it by
So
scale, length,
yeah,
angle, area, volume, etc., color.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, where was I? So yeah, we made this book, and we started looking for a publisher, and um, well, we contacted a few publishers, and they said that they think it, like as it is in its current form, it's too niche for the market. They're not going to sell enough copies. So what I thought was, like, why don't I let if it's just in a book, it's quite difficult. You need to be a developer or designer to be able to actually use the charts. Like, you need to go and make a custom chart yourself with D3 or something. So I thought, why not make it easier for people to actually use the charts themselves with like a code library or something. And that led to the other parts of the Number Picture project, which is the showcase of some of the charts that have been made, coded with Potion,
Mm-hmm.
and actually Potion itself came out of this. So I thought, like, it would be good um, to let people make the charts and see examples of them in the form of code, and they can just copy and paste, and that'll open up the market for the book to, like, a bigger audience. So I just completed that process now, and now we're going to start looking again for a publisher. Yeah.
No, it sounds. I hope you managed to successfully pick. I hope you successfully find a publisher in that. 'Cause it does sound. It does look like a great book. I definitely want to get myself a copy. Um,
send you a link when it's published.
Yeah, that should be great. It's a shame it's you can't oops. It's a shame you've not been able to get a publisher in that. But I think it's one of these things. Even with like Dataviz in general, it's still quite niche.
Yeah. I mean, in the worst, I'll self-publish it. But I thought it'd be nice to have a legitimate, well, a real publisher house, because then it kind of adds legitimacy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I think it's illegitimate or anything, but I think I feel like for me to close this chapter, I need to publish it properly. I don't know if that's strange or not.
No, I mean maybe you can find somewhere locally produce it quite cheaply. It's just a case of finding it and doing that. But I thought I would make people aware of your project, because I think it's really cool, and that where you basically it's just a collection of all different combinations of different visual variables for each chart, and many charts combined together into one. So it could be very useful as a source of inspiration.
Yeah, and sorry, you go.
No, I think it would be good as something for designers and for the construction of charts to come up with new ideas.
Yeah, and also I think if we take it to the next step, because currently it shows you how charts are constructed, but it doesn't necessarily show you how they should be used. So which like got me interested in your project, which is the chart catalog. And I thought, like, you got all these charts, but what if we could actually take it a step further and also say how you should use them, or in which specific situations you should use which chart, And I thought that if we could apply like your thinking that you've done in the chart catalog, it might be a great opportunity to, if we could apply it to the number picture charts, we could add a lot more value and actually, like, round out the theory of all the charts themselves. So people would know like when they can use them and that sort of thing.
I think that'd be a very, very big and ambitious project to undertake. I think but it will be ultimately, it'll be extremely useful.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how big it would be, because I mean, I think you could probably distill your thinking down into several like axioms, or like if you are dealing with time-based data, it's good to use a chart that has a scale in it, and all the charts that have scales in it from my collection, because they have an S in it. Mm-hmm. So I think you could like quite easily apply your theory to the number picture collection. But I haven't tried it yet, but I have a feeling it might not actually be so tricky to do.
It's worth trying out. I think even with my project, it's still work in progress. I think determining how to select a chart is still, I think, a complicated process, and I think I've done an okay job of it. There's still, I think, other factors that would help influence someone in the choice of their charts. And I think that looking into the whole research into visual variables is really interesting. I need to spend more time to research into that. And I think that's also, like you said, there's maybe some kind of factors. Some visual variables work better for other types of functions that you need charts to be used for. So that's something to look into. But I think they still need to do more like research into visual variables in terms of like how it works with human psychology and human perception and all that. I think it's something very interesting to research into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
But I think even for myself, I'm still quite interested in designing charts and coming up with new designs for charts and figuring out what's the best design for making it function correctly. So this is something I want to continue with in my research as well.
It's it's interesting. I spend less time on the actual design side of things, more on the development side, I guess you could say. So like technically making the charts, but I've got a few books by Edward. Is it Tuft or Tufty?
Yeah,
I never know how to say it, but and he goes a lot into how the intricacies of how you finish a chart, like the details and which details work in which situations and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's kind of a huge subject actually, if you get into that side. But from my side, it's it has its limits. In terms of developing the actual charts, you know when it's finished, when you've actually finished making it, which is cool. Okay.
But why did you decide to initially focus on visual variables for your project? Yeah.
Well, so I as I told you, like I had this, I guess you could say, epiphany, that when I realized that charts, every chart you see is composed of like a small set of visual variables, I had this epiphany that you could extrapolate that out to find every single chart there is, to discover every single chart, and actually discovered like quite a few that I'd never seen before ever, that are in the book, that that they just were invented by combining the visual variables together, and I realized that there's so many. Our current like vocabulary for visualizing data is very limited. We have like pie charts, bar charts, line charts, and those are like 90% of everything you see is that, like that. But I think people have like fatigue of these things, of these types of charts. Like if you see 100 pie charts, you're gonna switch off, and just ignore what it's telling you. But if you were able to more eloquently visualize your data and use like
something more interesting and different.
Yeah, more interesting, different to something you've seen before, it like grabs your attention. If we had this like richer vocabulary, we could communicate more data, and we could communicate more efficiently, more pleasantly, etc. And I thought like the logical first step to getting to this eloquence is to firstly see what's at our disposal, like what are all the charts out there, and then once we've seen all the charts, we can start like categorizing them, saying these are good for this type of data, this, these are when to use them, etc. And then once we've developed this theory, it will like automatically find its way into our software, into our daily use, But you got to take that first step of like developing the theory itself before it can come into general use.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think anyone else is doing that at the moment that I know of, who is actually apart from maybe me. I've started on it a bit, but no one's really looked at creating like a catalog of different chart combinations and how you can combine them all together. So I think it's I think it's the next step. And I've already on my website, the Dataviz catalog, I've got like 60 charts. I realized after a while that it's going to take forever to produce like a catalog in every chart, and that it's just going to be I think we could go into like I think I've recorded on some of my research. I haven't. There's like maybe even a number 100 established charts that I haven't even included on the main page of the catalog. So there's still a lot for me to do there. And then also on top, you've got all these other chart combinations. So you could potentially have charts that hundreds of different chart types.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not so sure that I think there are like general principles that determine which charts should be used in which situations, like which visual variables work for which types of situations. There are principles, but we just haven't like discovered them yet, you know. And I think like once we discover them, we could go the next step and say, you know, like automatically match data to chart types, and you just like throw some data at a computer and it like gives you back,
So it's
it gives it back to you visualized.
all
Yeah,
automated. So it will
yeah, yeah,
eventually, but then there'll be no jobs for data visualizers because the
yeah.
computer will do it all.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But I
Uh,
mean, I think that's my personal belief. I'm not sure like how we would get to that, but maybe we would need to use like machine learning or something to fully, well, not fully, but like to approximate these principles, you know?
that's what I mean by like when I said
Yeah.
before that I'm not sure like the kind of system I've developed at the moment is is that great. It still has like some flaws to it, but like you said, you know, we still need to discover that, and I think there's a lot more variables and factors that affect the decision of a project. You know, you have who is the audience and what's the type of data, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the intended format? Is it going to be, you know, animated, or is it going to be for print, or is it going to be interactive? You have all these other factors that can come into place here, and it could be the culture as well that it's in.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I'm sure like as with anything, if you automate it, you kind of lose something. You know, you lose the personal touch of the designer or something. But I think you could, yeah,
You would still
you
have
could
someone, you would
approximate it.
still have a designer in place, you someone that would
Mm.
oversee it and make sure it fits in the right direction. It's just, you know, it's like with flying planes, even though you have like autopilot on, you still need a pilot to make sure everything is okay. It's not going to be, it's not fully automated, so they still need to kind of make sure that the AI is steering in the right direction.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Same principle, I guess. Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
but where do you see yourself going in the future now with, in general, with yourself and with your projects?
Um, well, currently I'm working for a Dutch nonprofit called ACFO, and they're basically developing software and hardware for collecting and analyzing data for international development. So I'm busy helping them with the visualization side of their analysis tool, and I mean I'm happy doing that, but I think in terms of my personal projects, um, I, I I imagine publishing the book and putting a wrap on that project of mine, and then developing Potion as far as I can, so making it as rich as possible, the library, and then I would quite like the next step to get into this. Uh, well, the next step I would like to um, try to combine your thinking with my thinking. So um, to apply your framework of when to use which chart to my framework of charts, so that we can see if there's a way to automatically determine which chart to use in which situation. And then after that, I would quite like to, if that goes well, I'd quite like to look at the data side and see how can we tell just by